This is On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross, a weekly recap of your Philadelphia Flyers from blue line to blue line. Broadcasting live from Chickies and Pete's, tonight's show is brought to you by Han & Stone Spa, Pat Dion Beverages, The Capitol Grill, Chickies and Pete's, Payroll Service Solutions, and Independence Blue Cross. We now go live to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Now, here are your hosts, former Flyers goaltending great Bernie Parent and Paul Jolovitz.
And thank you very much, Matt Miro. Welcome to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross from right here at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, Pennsylvania. Ready to rock as the Phillies start in the World Series on Friday. Everything else rocking and rolling here in Philadelphia. The Eagles undefeated. The Flyers off to a great start. We have a great guest tonight, too. Bernie Parent will be here in a couple minutes. A goaltender got caught in a line change for a couple seconds, but he'll be in here real soon. And we have a guy who used to play goaltender with the Philadelphia Flyers, had a long career with the Phantoms, the Flyers. He won 2 Calder Cups, currently a scout with the Montreal Canadiens. Monsieur Neil Little. Neil, thanks for being here.
Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Neil, if you don't know what he looks like, Neil looks a little like Scott Fransky, and more every year. Here's Mr. Parent, by the way, with his vintage Bernie Parent jersey. Gotta love it. Neil from Medicine Hat, Alberta.
How are you?
Monsieur, good? I asked you before the show, it's one of those towns like Flin Flon. People always ask, is that a real town? Of course it's a real town. Bobby Clark's from there, but what's the lore behind Medicine Hat? You told me before the show, and I love urban legend type stuff. Tell everybody else if you could.
Well, small town, southern Alberta, and the story behind the town is the medicine man. I'm not sure which Indian tribe he belonged to. He's running across the river. He lost his hat in the river, and thus the name of the town was born.
Medicine Hat, Alberta. You ever been there, Bernie?
I've been everywhere, man.
Well, Johnny Cash has been everywhere. He does a commercial about it.
Look, our buddy here.
Yeah,
he
nice to
looks
see
like
you.
a movie star. It's good to see you, man.
Great to see you, Bernie.
You think he
look
looks like
awesome.
Scott Fransky? Think Neil looks like Scott Fransky at all?
I don't know. He looks like himself. Yeah.
He looks like himself.
Yeah, sure.
Everybody looks like themselves. That's true. Neil Little's in the RPI Hall of Fame. I pass Rensselaer Polytechnic every year on my way up to Saratoga, where I go to the horse races, and the RPI Hall of Fame. That's cool. It's kind of a unique show for us because Mr. Parent won 2 Stanley Cups. Mr. Neil Little won 2 Calder Cups for the Phantoms. Rings are rings, championships are championships. Both you guys, obviously, the lore is old on this one, but do you still remember the cup? You still remember how you felt? And we'll ask Neil the same question.
Well, it's still the same way. It's been a long time. It still do. You know, it's a beautiful thing. It's a I believe that when you win a championship, wherever you're at, it's a gift from God. It's a beautiful thing, and you have to be grateful the rest of your life.
Well, you
That's
were
for
gifted
sure.
with 2. I was gifted with, and you were gifted with 2. What was it like, Neil? I mean, this city, they came out and they're supporting the Phantoms when they won the Calder Cup. Was it 98 and 04?
98 and 05. Yeah.
98 and 05. Sorry about that. What was it like? I obviously never won a Stanley Cup, so it's hard to ask you the difference, but I remember when Richie and Jeff Carter and those kids, they celebrated. They partied good. I mean, it's a tremendous accomplishment, isn't it, to win a championship at any level? It's hard to do, isn't it?
Yeah, it brings back great memories, and it's so hard to do. I think while you're going through it, there's a lot of ups and downs, and once you get over the hill and you get over the hump and you get the final buzzer goes, it's just full relief and so much joy because you know how much work that you put into it and how much work all your teammates put in and coaching staff and on and on all throughout the organization. So it's and it stays with you, and as do your teammates who become lifelong friends.
Got to ask you this question, and I've known you for a while, and you've been with the Flyers. You said you were 24 years with the Flyers in all kinds of capacities as a scout, now a scout for the Montreal Canadiens. You played in the NHL, but you played most of your career in the AHL and the minor leagues. Sometimes circumstance is what deals us our cards in life. Do you ever think, if I could have been in the NHL for longer, if your career had taken a different path, if somebody hadn't been the roadblock? I'm sure you think about that, do you?
I don't think about it anymore. But at the time, you're always ready. I was always ready. But first you have to have opportunity.
Yes, you
and
do.
So if you don't get the opportunity, and that's for a variety of reasons, it's tough. So I did have a few cups of coffee, and I really enjoyed my time with, all my teammates, whether it be with the Flyers or the Phantoms. But it was just a different time slot. No one was getting injured. At that time, there was no cap, so we could, Clarkie would, try to re-sign the Hexie was there.
Yeah.
He brought back Hexie at one time, or they just signed a free agent, the hottest free agent on the market. And so you're kind of always pigeonholed in that 3-hole, waiting for an injury and waiting for an opportunity. But, sometimes it doesn't come. Now, it could be a blessing because I had a wonderful career and I had such a great time. And I wouldn't change it for anything. It would have been nice to play more games in the NHL and have a chance to win a Stanley Cup, absolutely. But I sure feel blessed to have had the career that I did.
Bernie, I was watching a Florida Marlins AA team, the Portland Thunder AA team for the Marlins, and Mark Kotsay, a guy who was on the U.S. Olympic team in 1996, was on that team. He was their first-round draft choice. Everybody was watching him. This guy's obviously going to be a major leaguer at some point. And Mark Kotsay was good, and he had a nice long major league career. He was a major league manager. But there was another guy on this team named Kevin Millar, who you see now on MLB Network, who was just tearing the cover off the ball. And his stats, his numbers were unbelievable. I'm thinking, what the bleep? Why isn't he in the show? He's way better than Mark Kotsay. He wound up having a nice major league career. As Neil said, sometimes it's a matter of circumstance, who, what, and where. Did you ever see a minor league goaltender or a minor leaguer at any position where you thought to yourself, what the heck, why isn't this guy in the NHL?
Yeah, I was looking at myself.
Other than the man in the mirror that Michael Jackson told you about.
It's all the the situation, that the league is in. It's in a situation where you're at, and you dream about winning wherever you're at, and you dream again to if you could go higher, and to be in that situation too, and you just sometimes you have to realize you accept where you're at, and the big word I use all the time in life is gratefulness. To be grateful to be in that situation, and it just look for an example, very quickly. When I turned pro for Boston, they had Jerry Cheevers at Johnston.
Abraham Lincoln had retired by that time?
No, he was still practicing with us. But anyway, so I ended up in the minors, right? And I could have sat there for number of years, and but my approach was always to play National Hockey League. And 5 weeks later, the two guys got hurt at the same time. Think about this. So
how did two goalies get hurt at the same time?
Well, you know what? They
crash into each other in practice?
So they called me up, and my first game was against Chicago, Bobby Hall, And he took a couple of shots, and I said, what am I doing here? 120 miles an hour. Nobody has ever come, they have come close, 115. Nobody has done 120. Big shoulders, curved blade, and the whole bit. And he would come down with a big smile. And I wasn't smiling, believe me. And, scary. But what I'm saying is it's funny how life works, and you have to accept what life is giving you and be grateful and be happy where you're at now. Yeah.
It's interesting, Neil, because another co-host of the three that we have on this show is Keith Primo, and Keith's son Caden is with Laval in Quebec, has played with the Canadiens, gotten several cups of coffee, top draft pick from Northeastern University in Boston, And obviously you work for the Canadiens. I'm not asking you to say anything officially on the team's behalf, but have you watched Caden? What do you think of his general fundamentals, and how do you feel about a guy like that trying to get to the show? How hard is it when you're young?
Well, he's in the same boat as a lot of young goalies, just trying to develop, trying to get as much information, as much coaching in it as he can. I actually went up to Bridgeport to try to catch him play this weekend, but unfortunately I missed him. But I have seen him play a number of times over the past couple of years. So as far as technique, he's a big kid. He's technically sound. Is there things that he needs to work on? Sure, but as with all young goalies, there's always a few things that you can improve upon, and a lot of it is just getting minutes in. So seeing situations time and time again where you're more comfortable, maybe a little more patient, and just overall, just getting in tune with your game, your own game, and just keep developing.
You mentioned patience, Neil. Bernie was with the Broad Street Bullies. We all know about them. We all know about their legacy, their lore. But it's Neil Little that was part of one of the great brawls in hockey history. You went into the crowd during a brawl in 2003. You don't seem to me as the kind of guy that I'd think of as the guy who's going to be the trigger man for a bench-clearing brawl. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you were after it started. But tell everybody about that if you could. Fun story.
Well, in those days, there was a lot of fighting, and we had a very, very tough team. Almost model ourselves after the Broad Street Bullies. So we had a lot of toughness, we had a lot of grit, and we had a lot of skill.
Yep.
And you mix that together.
Was Frankie on that team, the Animal?
I'm not sure if Frankie was on that team, or it doesn't matter. We had so many tough guys that it was crazy
Right.
over the years. But it happens. It was a very physical league, and that night we happened to be playing against Ray Emery and the Binghamton Senators. And Ray was clowning around down there, and he's as he usually did. And he speared one of our skilled forwards so hard the guy just crumbled like a piece of paper in front of him. And so an ensuing melee beside the net, and I decided it was time for me to come down and visit Ray. Now, I'm smart enough to know that Ray's one tough customer, so I was looking for the smallest European that I could grab.
By the way, that kid was only 4 years old.
He was in the crowd, apparently.
Yeah.
But I did do a little dive into the pile and came out the other side and grabbed the nearest, smallest European-looking fella.
What was your suspension? Did he get suspended?
Yeah, I think I got suspended for a game or two. I can't remember now.
Yeah, that's all right. A game or two. Huh?
I mean, Ray Emery could fight. I mean, he was a goalie that when the goalies fought, he was not doing it because he had to. He kind of wanted to at some points. And
well, yeah, you got to go, but at the same time, you're like, I sure hope I don't get Ray.
Who's the toughest goalie you ever played against, Burton? The one guy you didn't want to fight if you had to?
Nobody. I could fight anybody.
You were tough.
I didn't fight anybody, but I could fight anybody. You know
ready?
what? I had a good understanding with my defenseman. I'll try to stop the puck, and you guys take care of the rest.
You had plenty of
Business.
teammates who were willing and able to go at it, right?
Bingo. Yeah,
Yep.
sure.
Broad Street Bullies. Neil Little and Bernie Perrant here. Talk to Neil much more. Neil works with the Canadiens now, the RPI Hall of Fame. All kinds of great stuff with the Flyers. John Tortorella, we'll talk about him after the break, guys, has the Flyers off to a hot start, 4-2. The only two games they've lost were with Felix Sandstrom, who we'll talk about, backing up Carter Hart. On the back-to-back nights, the second night of back-to-back games, Flyers play the Panthers in Florida tomorrow. Or is it here in Florida? Here tomorrow night.
Yep.
They already beat them or got beaten in Florida about it. It's time now for the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Player of the Week. Each week we reward a Flyer with this honor, and this week it's Joel Farabee, a goal and 2 assists for the Flyers as they won in Nashville with our friends who were at the show tonight at the game. Ellen, I was at the game. Remember to choose Independence Blue Cross today and begin to live fearless like Joel Farabee did. This is the Independence Blue Cross on the ice from Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, Pennsylvania. We are back right after this.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. Dine in for these amazing fall specials. Wednesday is crab night. 2 pounds of snow crab legs, $49.99. Or mix it up with 2 pounds of snow crab legs and 4 hard shells for $79.99. Thursdays are for the birds. Whatever the Eagles score on Sunday, you get to save on wings at Chicky and Pete's on Thursday. Plus, limited time fall specials, including bomb pork belly tacos and the garlic truffle burger. Wash it down with our pear elderflower mule or apple cider old fashioned. Chickies and Pete's.
I'm Lisa Thomas Laurie. If you're on Medicare, I've got great news. Keystone 65 HMO plans from Independence Blue Cross have earned 5 stars, Medicare's highest rating for 2022. Some plans have no monthly premiums, no deductibles, and no copays for primary care visits and some prescription drugs. Don't wait. Visit ibxmedicare.com/star.
Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Keystone 65 offers HMO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Keystone 65 Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. This is a paid endorsement.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866 for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Perrant.
Back with On the Ice from Chickies and Pete's in Audubon. Nice crowd, TV's roaring, people, great atmosphere. Getting ready for the World Series and for the Flyers. A 4-2 start tomorrow night at home against the Panthers. It's time now for the Smart Stat of the Week. Brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. Bernie, I took some liberties this week. We don't have a stat because there's something more important than stats, and it's called life. Oscar Lindblom, former Flyer, rang the bell, Pennsylvania hospital, came back from cancer, playing with the San Jose Sharks. Now the Flyers crowd gave him a great welcome and a great ovation when Oscar came back last week. Him coming back, that's the stat of the week. Once again, brought to you by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions, catering to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again at 1-866-PAY-EASY. Guys, we kid around a lot, but serious question for a change. Neil, did you have a teammate who went through cancer or some type of life-threatening situation, maybe a terrible injury, and then came back? And what does it do for a team when that guy fights and fights and fights, gets back and plays?
Well, I've had plenty of teammates that have gone through some very serious things. But in Oscar's case, it's so fantastic that he could come out the other side and actually coming back and play in the NHL. I mean, it's almost magical. But I played with Yannick Dupre.
Same thing.
And
passed away.
He tried his best to get back and get back with us, but unfortunately, his time was up. But there's a trophy for Yannick because he was such a positive, beautiful person. So, it can go both ways. So that's why I feel so strongly about Oscar coming back, and really just lights your heart right up to know that he beat it, and now he's off and running. Yeah.
Bernie, did you know Yannick Dupre at all, defenseman?
No, he's a forward, skilled forward.
Forward.
Yeah, I missed your question. Go ahead.
Did you know he's the only Flyer ever to pass away while he was still in the NHL of cancer back about 20-some years ago? Did you know Yannick at all?
Not much, but I believe in the system. When you my philosophy quickly here in life is talk to your universe. Okay, I'm serious about this. Very important. Ask, okay, universe, whatever it is that you're asking. Ask. Second one is believe. Every day you believe in what you just asked. And number 3 is receive. And how you're going to receive, it's none of your concern. Universe will reorganize and do everything for you to make it happen. That's a powerful way to live,
It's a good way to live, and the Flyers have a new way to live, and with their coach John Tortorella, who's gotten them out of the gate. I always thought he was a perfect coach for Philadelphia with his temperament. Whether he could get this Flyer team, which has some talent issues, obviously, to play as well as he did, or has. Neil, he's a guy who demands accountability, but give me one word or one thought as to why they're so successful out of the gate. It seems like Konechny and Provorov, obviously Carter Hart's bought in, the team's bought in. He doesn't care what line you're on, he doesn't care who you're playing. He just wants to play hard, which he keeps repeating, and work hard, and so far so good.
Well, if you're asking me for one word, I would say urgency. They play with more urgency.
Great word.
They're after it, and if you put your mind toward a goal like urgency, then everybody picks up their game a little bit, and good things happen. Yeah.
All right, Bernie, I'm going to ask you a stupid question. I never played in the NHL, never played professional hockey at any level.
No kidding.
No kidding. There we are. But Neil mentions urgency, and John Tortorella is seen as an outlier. Why doesn't everybody, not that everybody has to coach the same, but it seems like very few coaches demand the type of urgency and accountability and playing hard that John Tortorella does. Why do you think that is?
Well, let's use the Phillies as an example, the way they're winning, And this is a team game. It's not an individual game, it's a team game. And, I'll come back, John, for a second. But, you watch the Phillies, when somebody's doing something good, everybody's jumping and hugging each other, the whole bit. And that's why they're winning. It's a family approach. And John brings that. He does. He, what? And what he brings also, that if you're a little bit lazy on the ice, he's going to let you know.
Well, he benched Kevin Hayes.
It's very important.
Yeah.
It's important that you're doing what the whole team is doing, is working as hard as you can. If you slow down a little bit, he won't accept that.
Well,
go ahead.
Neil, Bernie, the other night brings up Travis Konechny, who's off to such a hot start, and Kevin Hayes. Bernie, those two played the same amount as I did in the Saturday game. Who'd they lose to Saturday night? Forgot now. Who'd they play to the back end of the back-to-back? I'm feeling like an idiot. But whatever, they didn't play in the third period at all. In other words, John Tortorella doesn't care if you scored 85 goals in the last 5 minutes. If you slack off, you're not going to see much ice time. What do you think of that?
It's the way it's always been, really. You're always held accountable for what you're doing out on the ice. And, if you go off on your own page, then you're going to sit down a little bit. That's just, that's the way the game has always been. Maybe it's a little more pronounced because, Torts is back there and kind of the spotlight's on him and all his decisions that he's making. But that's the name of the game. If you don't play to your expectations, you have a little sit.
And I expect to know who the Flyers play at each and every game on their schedule due to the accountability issue. San Jose Sharks, they got beat 3-0 Saturday night with Oscar Lindblom there. Bernie, they've lost 2 games this year, both back-to-back, second end of back-to-back, both with Felix Sandstrom in the net. Not fair to just say that Felix is this and Carter is that, but Carter Hart's off to a very hot start. It seems like he's seeing the puck, competing, which is all you can really do. What have you seen out of Carter Hart? Everybody waiting for him to have that big year. Is this the year?
Well, I I think so. I hope so. I'm saying I think so because I believe it is, because his communication is tremendous with the players. Just like the defensemen with the forwards, it's important the goaltender have communication with the defense, in different situations, understanding what your goalie is doing, understanding what your defenseman is doing in different situations, and it helps you to anticipate where to be and how to play, position yourself to make a save. It's very, very important. Communication is, people don't talk too much enough about this. Remember when I played, and I shared this before, it's worth repeating, but have Joe Watson in front of me, and I told God, I said, God, I'm going straight to heaven playing behind Joe Watson. No, but Joe was awesome, because if you have, here we go. I don't know if you can show the cup here, but if you have a left-hand shot
not
coming,
the Stanley Cup, the cup I'm drinking iced tea out of. Yeah.
If you're playing, it's a one-on-one, and the player's coming down, Joe always said, I'll play the man. Okay, so if it's a left-hand shot, 9 out of 10 times the shot will go my stick side. If it's a right-hand shot, the shot will go on the glove side. So it's very important to communicate like this, and then it helps you, because of the speed of the game, it helps you to be at the right place and anticipate the shot, and you're in better position to make the save.
See, somebody listening to this show, somebody watching, must think goalies shot, hit goalie, kick out. There's a science to it, and you talk about this. There's a science to everything. Neil, obviously you watch goalies, I would guess, more closely than anybody else, or certainly with more interest than anybody else. What have you seen out of Carter Hart thus far this year when you've been able to watch the Flyers?
It's been interesting, and good for Carter getting off to a good start. The thing about Carter is there's not a lot that can go wrong with his game. He's so structurally sound. His footwork is great. He's got good edges. He's got a good head for it. He has great reads. His positioning is really good. His rebound control it's pretty special for a kid that age. There's a few things he can clean up, obviously. His puck playing can come a long ways, and that'll come. And that'll come with being, playing more games with his defensive crew there, and just getting to know each other a little bit more. But all in all, he's got a game that's it's the envy of a lot of goaltenders in the National Hockey League, actually. So.
Well, how much will tomorrow night Rasmus Ristolainen has come back into the lineup? He hurt himself in training camp, hadn't played a regular season game yet. Who knows how much Tortorella will play him, who he plays with, but assuming he plays normal time, he's obviously tough in front of the net. How much will it benefit Carter Hart to have a guy like Ristolainen back?
Well, as long as Risto's sharp and ready to go, it's always nice to have a big physical presence in front of you. Clearing the way, making the lanes a little easier, making your job a little easier, especially if there's any loose change laying around. They can help a goalie out by tying up sticks and whatnot, and Risto's very good at that. He's got a good stick, and he's got a real physical presence around the crease.
On the other end of the ice, Bernie, the forward line, Flyers had a tough blow today. They've already had injuries. Sean Couturier hasn't played. Ryan Ellis may not play. Cam Atkinson, it may be a while, who played for Tortorella in Columbus. JVR, who scored 2 power play goals early as the Flyers power play looked like it was getting into gear early in the season, broke a finger the other night. He had surgery. He'll be out a while, undetermined, John Tortorella said. How much is his absence going to hurt?
Well, of course it does. Talent is something you don't replace. Those players at a certain level for one reason, the talent that they have as a player. Now, having said that, then sometimes you look at the bright side of a situation. I always did, and now it's time to really concentrate on approaching the game as a team, not one individual, or like we talked a little bit earlier, but approach as a team. Communication, like I said, communication goalie with the defense, but also there's communication that goes on with the defense and the forward. So when you have the whole team communicating like this on the ice, then you could overcome the
lack of talent,
the lack of power, that you should have, and then you start believing in yourself and you win games.
Can Communication seems to be the key to everything, not just sports, but out of sports and the like. Communication can be in many ways. Four-letter words are part of the communication you hear on a lot of hockey rinks during a lot of games. When we come back, I'm going to ask Bernie and Neil what the hardest shot they ever took in the face was in their career, because it's just unbelievable.
Excuse me a second.
Yes, sir.
Look at Neil. Look at me.
Yeah.
Do we have to answer that question?
You wear masks, we'll ask it anyway. We'll take a shot on the ice from Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, Pennsylvania. We love it here. You'll love it too. Come on over and say hi. We'll be here other times this year as well. We're back right after this. Stay with us.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's Incredible Crab Specials Wednesdays this fall. 2 pounds of snow crab legs for $49.99 or 2 pounds of snow crab legs and 4 hard shells for $79.99. Thursdays is Chicky and Pete's Go Birds Wing Special. Whatever the Eagles score on Sunday, get that percentage off your wings on Thursday. Higher score, bigger discount. Plus our fall specialty menu with the mouth-watering garlic truffle burger and B-Dog Impact Nachos. Enjoy a pumpkin shanty or a smoked apple cider margarita. Chickies and Pete's.
I'm Lisa Thomas Laurie. If you're on Medicare, I've got great news. Keystone 65 HMO plans from Independence Blue Cross have earned 5 stars, Medicare's highest rating for 2022. Some plans have no monthly premiums, no deductibles, and no copays for primary care visits and some prescription drugs. Don't wait. Visit ibxmedicare.com/star.
Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Keystone 65 offers HMO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Keystone 65 Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. This is a paid endorsement.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Perrant.
Back at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon. Bernie Perrant, my co-host, Neil Little, our guest tonight. On the Ice, we're here every Wednesday night from 6 to 7. Joe Watson is our guest next week in Drexel Hill, Pennsylvania. We'll have Flyers throughout the year. We'll have players. We'll have alumni. We're enjoying Neil Little tonight. Guys, everybody who never played goalie in the NHL, which is about the entire population of the human race except for a few hundred guys, wonders whether it's Bobby Hull at $120 or whoever. I mean, got plenty of guys shooting 95, 100 miles an hour. Neil, do you remember one shot above any other, minor league, NHL, whatever it is, that hits you in the head or that hits you anywhere, that one shot stand out among every shot that you took in your career where afterwards you went, oh, bleep, and maybe the bleep a few other times?
Oh, there's been plenty of shots. I mean, guys, there's a lot of guys that can bring some heat. For names that, you know, our locals would know, Johnny Leclerc had a very fast shot. It wasn't so much hard; it was fast. Eric Lindros.
What do you mean it was fast but not hard?
Well, there's a difference. There's shots that come in super fast, and there's
get
shots
on you quickly.
And there's shots that come in hard that'll go through you. And Eric Lindros had he was more of a hard shooter.
Play against Al McInnes at all?
No, I think the only time I really remember a shot that I was stunned by was Jamie Heward, who played in Philly a little bit here, and he could bring it over 100. And we played in a small rink up in St. John's, Newfoundland. It was had to be 80% of the size of a regular rink. So, when you wind up the blue line, and you end up shooting, it's like top of the circles, and he could bring it. I remember he hit me right in the belly and knocked the wind right out of me, and that never happens because you're fairly well protected. And another shot from the same spot a little later on in the game went in the net over my left shoulder, out my right shoulder before I could even look over my left. It's like, there's some guys can really bring it. Yeah, so.
Yeah, Bernie, you talk about Bobby Hall, but you played against a lot of guys who could bring it. Did anything stand out? Any one thing, if I said it was the hardest shot you ever took, saved, obviously didn't go in the net or wouldn't have hit you. Anything stand out to you other than Bobby Hall?
I got hit so hard I don't remember.
Yeah.
No, they
concussions. How many you had concussions, right?
Huh?
You must have had concussions when you played. We never hear about hockey goalies and concussions. It's
no, we're
obviously
well protected.
You're well protected, but you're also taking vulcanized rubber at 100 miles an hour. Even if it hits your mask, it can rattle your head, can it?
Well, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did you play a goal?
Yes, I did. Folks, I never gave up a goal in the NHL. I stand by that. You want to think of the glass as half full instead of half empty, or half empty instead of half full. You can think that way.
But now, what I want to say, Neil, you look at the equipment they're wearing today. Think about this. Let's talk about this a little bit. The equipment versus the equipment we wore when we played. And you know what? I'm looking first of all from the waist up. It's so bulky. It's very difficult to move. And number two, the pads. I'm always amazed because all the goalies are wearing the same pads. So it must be a National Hockey League rule. You have to use those pads, and they're only this thick, right? But they're so stiff they can't move their feet. That's why they're dropping to their knees all the time.
Yeah, they've got them so loose on the toe and the leg that when they drop, they just automatically flush into a perfect butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
Where we used to have the leather and the horsehair,
right.
and you'd tighten those things up so you could have some feel.
Right.
And then when you went down, it was it was a little bit more difficult to make a proper butterfly.
Yeah.
And that's why we were doing our skate saves and using our stick more and using different techniques.
And you don't see them doing this anymore.
No, you don't.
You know, and the problem with dropping to your knees, from what I see when I see their goalies play, is once you commit yourself and the puck changes directions, you see goalies diving. They have to because they can't move. Yeah. They're on their knees. They have to get up first and then move around. It's
the best goalies that I watch and as do you, and probably our favorite guys to watch are the guys with a little bit more patience.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that hold their feet from outside.
Yeah. Bingo.
And those are the upper echelon of the goalies in the National Hockey League.
Vasilevsky does that, right?
Are the guys that have the confidence enough to stand up from an outside shot where they don't need to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And where if there is a deflection, if there is something that change it, goes off pants and goes the other way, now you're set. You don't have to recover and then move. You're just in your movement already.
Pretty much in any sport you play, any position you play, the longer you can wait to react, the better off you're going to be. Yeah. The less of an edge, in this case, a shooter or anybody else can have against you.
But there are a few games where I waited too long.
Well, happens.
And
never happened to me.
You ended up with 7 or 8 goals against.
There we are. Neil is a scout now for Le Canadiens de Montreal. I took 4 years of high school French. Mom, I got a chance to use 2 words of it tonight. In baseball, World Series starts in 2 days. Hitting for power, running, throwing, speed. What are the 5 tools of hockey, Neil? When you scout a game, if you're scouting, I assume all the players on the ice, the goaltenders included, you sit down to scout a game, you're in the box, bunch of scouts there. What What are the basic tools you're looking for, depending on position?
Well, there's more than 5, obviously, but the ones that stand out to your regular viewer would be first of all pace of play, skating.
With the puck or without or both?
Both, yeah.
Okay.
Just footwork, edging. Does he have pop to his stride? Can he get going quickly from a hit, from a stop, from a scrum in a corner? Then it's obviously hands, sense. There's a whole lot. There's a grit factor. Is he physical? Is he a perimeter? What kind of player is he? Is it, so if I'm looking for a defensive forward, it's a lot different than me looking for a scoring left winger. If I'm looking for a defensive defenseman, it's a lot different than me looking for a puck moving PPQB. So there's a lot of different factors that go into. It depends on really what you're looking for, but really you cannot play in the NHL unless you are a very good skater and have very, very good sense. So.
Well, we always talk about the draft in every sport, and then every general manager that ever lived in every league and everything that exists has blown draft picks because it's not an exact science. Cale Makar went 4th 5 years ago. I'm guessing if that draft was redone, he would go first. Other guys, obviously there's billions of examples. Who's a player, Neil, in your career in scouting that you saw at the level that you saw them at, wherever that is, and 5 years later you saw them in the NHL and thought, that's not the same guy I watched? Who improved the most and kind of on the back end surprised you with how much they did, whatever they did?
There's been, literally hundreds of guys where you think that.
Like a low-round draft pick that became a superstar.
Oh, maybe, just thinking off the top of my head, Henrik Lundqvist was his 6th, 7th round. He's legitimately on the cusp of a Hall of Fame career there. Guys like that, guys deep in the draft where you're really rolling the dice. Pavel Datsyuk was a 5th or 6th round pick. Guys like that. It's remarkable that they slip through that many rounds, through that many teams, and they become these all-world players. So, if you just look at drafts and look at the latter 2-3 rounds and then pick out the superstar names that have come with that, you could come up with quite a few. Yeah.
Bernie, I hate to pick on a flyer, but you take Nolan Patrick, for example.
Why do you do then?
Because that's my job.
Okay, go ahead.
My job is to pick on flyers. No, Nolan Patrick was taken 2nd in the draft in 2017. He's had some obvious problems. He's been traded to Vegas. Didn't do much in the NHL. Obviously had the tools, but what happens? Obviously, again, it's not a science. You have ham and egg players drafted in the 4th round, rocketing to stardom. You have guys taken in the 1st round in every sport that maybe it's a mental thing, maybe it's a physical thing, maybe they got hurt, or any one of another million other reasons. Why wasn't Nolan Patrick a star for the Flyers and he's still early in his career, but why won't he be a 15-year NHL stud, in your opinion?
That's your question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I stand by it.
I don't know.
Let's ask the scout, Mr. Little.
I was on staff when we drafted Nolan, with the Flyers. So,
was there ever a discussion? It's easy. Monday morning quarterbacking, everybody does it.
Certainly, we all had our opinions,
but Makar against Patrick, for example, Makar went 4th, Patrick 2nd.
This is the way it works. So you have your Western League amateur scout who is in charge of all the West. So he has his opinion. Then you have a couple more amateur scouts scattered throughout Canada. They have an opinion because they cross over, and then you have management. And they have their opinion because they've seen these top-end guys a few times. And at the end of the day, no matter what the Western Hockey League scout says, he can be trumped by a manager that says, no, this is who we're going to take. And that was, in fact, what happened. And as far as why he didn't quite get to the spot that we thought he was going to get, well, injury did play a huge part in that. And unfortunately, when you're dealing with concussions and whatnot, you're talking about significant injuries that really delay development.
There's a story that I remember in 2009. The scout for the Anaheim Angels, Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim now in baseball, really loved a kid named Mike Trout from Millville. He played against Eastern competition, which is the equivalent to a hockey player playing in Japan, for example. If you excel against nobody, people aren't going to think you're somebody. And this one scout said the Angels weren't going to take him until the 25th pick in the draft. This scout said, we got to take this kid first. He's going to be a generational player. You know what happened. The guy was right about Mike Trout. And you're wrong about others. We all are. Has there ever been a player, Neil, where you scouted him, looked at him, maybe cross-checked him, and you really went to the mat saying, this kid's going to be great. We got to take him a lot higher than he's projected or that he's going to go. Does anybody like that come to your mind?
There's been plenty of guys that I stuck my neck out to and tried to get in the draft, but unfortunately, you don't. You know, everybody's got an equal name that they're stomping on the floor, going, "This is our guy," but there's only one pick.
Yep.
So if you got five players, then sometimes seniority rules, and sometimes it's just no. We actually need a forward. Or we need a D. It's situational. So.
Where were you drafted, Bernie? What number pick?
With Boston.
Yep.
I think I was the first pick. In 1885.
1885.
Yeah.
I want to ask. We got to take a quick break, though.
1965.
I asked my father, who you got to figure is your biggest fan, your dad, right? I asked my father. I was a decent high school baseball player. I was 17. I said, Dad, you think I'll get drafted when I'm 18? My father looked at me, thought for a second. He goes, if this country's at war when you're 18, you just might. By the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines. That sent me into broadcasting, which is where I am today, and where we are with On the Ice here at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon. Brianna O'Neill's doing a great job turning some knobs. She'll turn one that says commercial, and we'll be back right after this.
It's Pete from Chickie and Pete's, and we know Saturdays in the fall are special. Why? College football. And we have you covered with food and drink specials and the best in-game experience to watch your team or the college football game of the week. Come watch Penn State, Temple, Villanova, Notre Dame, Texas, Michigan, Georgia, and more. College football Saturdays are special at Chickies and Pete's.
I'm Lisa Thomas Laurie. If you're on Medicare, I've got great news. Keystone 65 HMO plans from Independence Blue Cross have earned 5 stars, Medicare's highest rating for 2022. Some plans have no monthly premiums, no deductibles, and no copays for primary care visits and some prescription drugs. Don't wait. Visit ibxmedicare.com/star.
Every year, Medicare evaluates plans based on a 5-star rating system. Keystone 65 offers HMO plans with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Keystone 65 Medicare Advantage plans depends on contract renewal. This is a paid endorsement.
A flawless occasion begins at the Capitol Grill. From the moment you step into the Capitol Grill, located in the heart of Center City, the experience is one of comfortable elegance. Whether you're looking to host a private affair, a perfect lunch stop, or dinner destination, start your occasion at the Capitol Grill today. Visit thecapitolgrill.com or call 215-545-9588. That's 215-545-9588 for the Capitol Grill, Center City.
Payroll Service Solutions was established in 2001 to cater to the payroll needs of small to medium-sized businesses. Payroll Service Solutions offers unparalleled customer service while they deliver a complete and accurate payroll. When calling Payroll Service Solutions, you will never be put into a voicemail or go through a series of prompts to get to a person. All customer service representatives are extensively trained to handle all of your payroll needs, therefore saving you time. They value each and every one of their clients. No account is too small. Call Payroll Service Solutions today at 1-866-PAY-EASY for a no-obligation review of your payroll needs. That number again is 1-866-PAYEASY. Payroll Service Solutions.
If you are looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
We now return to Chickies and Pete's for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Once again, here are your hosts, Paul Jolovitz and former Flyer goaltending great Bernie Perrant.
Here at Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, 6 degrees of separation taking place. Ellen Foreman, who's our house photographer, comes to the show every week, was in Nashville last week checking out the Flyer game, which is where Belmont University is, which is where Leslie Goodell, ex of NBC Sports Philadelphia, who's come to say hi. Hi, Leslie, was. So Nashville, part of our show tonight. Everything's part of everything, and this week is the World Series. This is a hockey show, but we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about it a little bit. Neil, you've been in Philly a long time. I don't think Medicine Hat has a major league team. There's the Blue Jays, obviously. There used to be the Expos. Have you adopted the Phillies or any other team, and are you interested in the World Series?
Absolutely. I've fully jumped on board. I always cheer for the Philly sports teams. It's just terrific when the city gets a little jolt of energy, and they're so excited, and these guys are playing so hard. It's fun to watch.
Bernie, we remember those 2 Stanley Cup parades, how 2 million, how many people there were. It just ties the city. It's not about the sports as much as the city. It just does something to galvanize the city. Black people, white people, old people, young people, people of everything, sitting next to each other, going to parades next to each other. What does going to the World Series, never mind winning it, mean to Philadelphia, and what was the Cup like for you?
It's so great. It's so great. You have different thing. You have 45, 50,000 people at the game.
Yep.
And the way they're cheering. You know what? They're real pumping. They're cheering because they're looking at the team. If you watch the team, the way they're playing, somebody makes a good play. They show the pictures of the players on the bench, right? And they're all hugging each other, high five, and they're happy with this guy, the whole bit. And guess what? The end result is you have a team that works together, that they're excited, and the fans it feels the same way.
But when you guys were playing goaltender, Neil with your Calder Cups, Bernie with your Stanley Cups, obviously whether Joe in Section 218 is screaming at the top of his lungs has nothing to do with whether that actual puck hits you. But it seems like obviously home teams play better, crowds do something to the teams. What was the biggest thing, Neil, that a crowd did to you, whether it was during a Calder Cup run or any other time? What is home ice advantage to Neil Little?
There's a comfort to knowing that there's 20,000 people that want you really to do well. They do not want to see you falter, and so they're with you thick and thin, especially playing goal. It's a unique position where they're almost like in there with you, and so you can feed off of their energy, and it just helps you focus that much more.
And what you just said is so true. You step on the ice. I remember the Spectrum. What did we have? 17,007.
Exactly. 17,077.
77?
Yep. 077. There were 70
but
of my friends who went to.
Anyway, you step on the ice and you have the crowd standing, cheering for you. You know what? It elevates you, right?
Yeah.
Elevates you, and you know what? You become. You know what? Really, what's happening is the world doesn't exist. It's all what exists. It's all what you're doing right now with the crowd, your teammates, and the whole bit, and you're going for a championship.
Well, I used to watch baseball games with Leslie all the time. We'd sit in the press box at Citizens Bank Park and just kind of putting science into it, Neil. 50,000 people, 45 at CBP. People in Philadelphia don't scream any louder than anybody anywhere else in the world. But it's undeniable that this ballpark, whether it's the Spectrum back in the day, whether it's Citizens Bank Park, the Link for the Eagles, Philadelphia fans are louder and more passionate. Ellen, one of them right here, than any fan anywhere else. Yet people are people. People in Calgary scream the same way people in Philadelphia is. What is it about this city that raises the decibel level and makes our city known as the greatest sports city in America?
Well, I think they really appreciate what you're doing and how hard you're working. And I love watching the highlights of, so they're starting to replay the home runs from last game, and they're talking about how wonderful it was.
Yep.
But my eyes go directly to the fans and their reaction when that ball leaves the ballpark. They are going crazy.
Bingo.
And it's so fun. It's fun for the players, and obviously the fans are having a great time.
You know, it's funny you're talking this way. I'm looking at Paul right now. I'm trying to imagine the same situation, you know, and it's difficult to get there, but it will eventually.
Eventually.
Yeah.
All right. I may not ask this question. I was about to pay you a compliment. I think Ellen, again, and her family are going down to Houston to go to Game 1 rather than drive down to the ballpark. It's a wonderful thing. Philly fans travel like nowhere else, but there's a tough time getting tickets here. I'm guessing that Bernie Perrant, with his connections, can probably score a couple tickets if he really wanted to. Are you going to go down to any of the games?
Yes. Now,
you're not throwing out the first pitch, are you?
Yeah. So I have to be there. You know, it's a beautiful thing. But but just thinking about the game, thinking about the situation. You win the championship. You're the best team in the world that year. You know, it's so it's not just the players, like you said earlier. It's everybody's getting excited, and as a player, you feel this.
Oh yeah,
Sports brings cities together.
Of course. Oh, it's beautiful.
Without question.
Yeah.
Brings cities together. It's brought this one together. We've had people here at Chickens and Pete's been brought together tonight. Had a great time with On the Ice. Neil Little, you're a terrific guest. Best of luck to your scouting job with the Canadiens and everything else in life that you're trying to achieve now in your family. Thanks so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Both of you, thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Give me 5. So good to see you. And
Nice
folks,
to see you.
Look at this young man. He looks 20 years younger than what you're supposed to be. Now, would I say this about Paul? I don't know
No.
yet. No.
But thanks for being here anyway, Bernie. We'll be together in a couple weeks.
Definitely.
Let's do it.
Thank you.
Brianne O'Neill produced this fine program. Gus Barber did as well. Stay tuned for the High School Roundtable hosted by our regular producer, Chris Irmer. That's on WBCB. From Chickies and Pete's in Audubon, Pennsylvania. We'll be at Chickies and Pete's in Drexel Hill next week. I'm Paul Jolovitz for Bernie Perrant and Neil Little for On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Have a great week. Go Flyers, go Eagles, and go Phillies!
Yeah.
All right.
You've been listening to On the Ice, presented by Independence Blue Cross. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB and heard around the world at WBCB1490.com.